Alright, welcome to Caution May Contain Nerds. Today I'm actually riding solo. We've realized that everyone's hectic schedules kind of make it a little bit difficult to get all of us together to talk all the time, but I promised a new episode this week, I plan to deliver. Tonight I wanted to talk about just things I saw at E3 through the videos online that I thought seemed relatively interesting, games that are coming out that I just wanted to talk about, and see if what anyone else's thoughts are. First I wanted to start off with the Sony PlayStation. I'm extremely biased towards them. I will usually get all three of the current consoles, PlayStation, Xbox, the Wii, but the PlayStation's always been the one I've always gotten first. There's really no true reason. It's just the one I've always felt the most comfortable playing with. Probably mainly the controller. Just is the epitome of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it sure as hell ain't broke. Now with the PlayStation, they announced the same thing, Xbox did, where they're doing a little, upgrade to the system. Xbox is making the thinner Xbox One with quite an increase in graphics capability, so they claim, and PlayStation doing the same thing. But what I really wanted to talk about with the PlayStation was actually some of the exclusives that are coming out for it. First one being the Horizon Zero Dawn. And I haven't watched the actual gameplay trailers of it yet, because I try not to watch too many of them, because I feel like it gives away indirectly too many spoilers on the game or in the settings. I like to go in as surprised as I possibly can. But watching, the trailer from last year and little bits and pieces like screenshots of what's happening, I must say this is probably one of the games I'm most excited for. The use of like a post-apocalyptic world. It's like a double apocalyptic, or just going around with the bow and arrow, essentially fighting these giant robots in this open world. It looks pretty awesome. And actually, as I'm recording this, I'm actually watching part of the gameplay trailer, just so I can get a better understanding of it. And so far, it does not disappoint. It's showing off all these cool little tricks you can do with your arrows and the technology that you take from the enemies you kill, just to create little power-ups or items that make it easier to take down anyone, as well as shields, little things for your maps, all that cool stuff that you expect to see. It, to me, kind of looks more like a third-person perspective of the Fallout games, mixed with goddamn Terminator, I guess. So all these robotic monstrosities this woman is fighting. Then I think it's actually really cool that they're using a female protagonist. You don't see that often in games, and the ones that do have the at least ability for the female character, it's usually just the stereotypical, hey, we're going to put her in the sluttiest costume ever and say that's how her power armor is amazing. Or they'll make them as generic as possible so that, they can be comparative to the male protagonists. This one, the character actually looks like she belongs part of this world. They're obviously not over-sexualizing her, but they're not making her look like this, empty slate either. Like, everything about her looks like she belongs in this world. And I really like that. One of the other videos I saw, and I've actually been watching a lot, there's actually two of them, two horror games. I don't think either one of them are PlayStation exclusive, but one is the Resident Evil 7, and the other one is Outlast 2. I'm a big fan of horror games. Um, Sean can usually attest to this with me. Starting with the Silent Hill games from back in the day, we would play them, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because as you do, and would purposely try to scare the shit out of each other while playing it. And it kind of memories kind of, stick with me. And I've always enjoyed going back and playing them. Now that, technology's gotten better, the jump scares are a whole lot better. The psychological portion of horror games are great. And with this VR coming out for different systems, both with the PlayStation VR and the Oculus Rift, it leads to a whole new world of the horror game genre. And mixed with, the wonderful headsets that you can get these days where it emulates that surround sound just around your ears, it can make for a great horror experience. And I think Resident Evil 7 is trying to do that mainly with those two combined, the VR and, most people are going to play with the headsets. It seems to do a complete turnaround from what the last two Resident Evil games were. Where, since Resident Evil 4, it's slowly become more and more action-y. Resident Evil 5 had the roided up Chris looking like he's, Arnold Schwarzenegger from The Predator. And it got away from its survival horror roots. And watching the demo, and actually played some of it myself, since they gave it out to PlayStation Plus members. I don't know if they gave it out to Xbox One subscribers or live, I'm not sure. But it's definitely going back to we're going to scare the crap out of you. And it seems like they probably took a page out of Outlast, some of the other like horror games that have been out recently, the Aliens Isolation, where it's all first person and you can't really attack anyone. It's you just hide or die. And those games are, as creepy as they are, I think they're the best way to do survival horror these days. You give someone a gun or, a pipe or something to try to fight back, and it kind of takes away from the horror game. It just becomes a button mash of, here, let me attack this bad guy as much as I can so he doesn't kill me. Whereas these games where you're kind of forced to hide, it kind of resonates better. It actually brings that stress levels up where you actually get the crap scared out of you. And with Resident Evil 7, what it looks like, it's, from what I can see from the trailer and what I've played and watched, it's all taking place in it's the abandoned, derelict house. You play as this cameraman who's kind of with amateur ghost hunters. One dude being, the stereotypical stuck-up, I used to be someone mind frame. And it kind of plays out in two separate timelines. You play in the present, but then throughout the trailer and everything, you find little videotapes that show what happened, prior to the start of the demo. And at first didn't realize it, but you actually play those videotapes. It's not like, oh, you push the button and it plays and you just watch a little cutscene. Like, when you load that video up, the game kind of Tarantino's it, where you play as yourself in the past inside this tape, which leads to, much more interesting approach. I'm not sure if they're going to do that for the final game or how this game's going to interlock with the rest of the Resident Evil, mythos and chronologically. But from the looks of it, it looks like it's going to be really good. The other horror game being Outlast 2, I didn't actually know the second one was coming out, but I'm a big fan of watching Markiplier videos, and I saw he was playing the demo for Outlast 2 on there, and it kind of looks like it's playing out the same way as the first one, more along the lines of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Abandoned area. Got the only source of light you have is a video camera that with night vision, And the more you use that camera so you can see in the dark, it uses up your batteries. Run out of batteries, well, you're shit out of luck. I haven't watched all of that demo yet, but I kind of stopped mainly because it did look like it was going to be played out the same way. New storyline, everything. You're playing as a cameraman, go figure, that works with his wife, and picking up a story about a Jane Doe who was murdered, found in the middle of the desert, found out she was pregnant. And when the demo kind of opened up with, after like little background of what you're doing in the desert, shit kind of hit the fan right away, where you don't know what happened to your character's wife. You just, woke up after like a plane crash by the sounds of it, and explore from there. Next game I wanted to talk about, I know I'm moving kind of quickly, it's a little awkward doing it by yourself, I guess. Next game was actually, by the looks of it, probably will be another horror game. This is apparently just going to be the horror game episode, not the E3 one. Is the game made by, legendary creator Hideo Kojima, with Norman Reedus still. Looks like they were able to keep the little partnership after, PT just fell completely through. The trailer, or I guess more like a teaser, doesn't really show much besides, the naked Norman Reedus with the little, yeah. But the title of it being called Death Stranding, and the fact that it's the game that they were making right after, PT, Silent Hills just kind of fell apart, I'm going to assume it's going to be another survival horror type game. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it's not just, not a post-apocalyptic, but not, I don't want it to be like, a lone guy stranded somewhere. I want it to actually be a horror game. Don't want it to turn into something else like halfway through. That would kind of be of a letdown. Here's hoping it actually goes in the horror route favor. If not, well, it's Hideo Kojima. I'll probably play the shit out of it anyway. It's time to jump away from the horror. And this is actually a remake or a remaster game coming out that, since I'm not a PC player, I'm actually kind of excited for it. It's the remaster of Skyrim. Getting with the updated PS4, Xbox One graphics is great. But the main thing I'm actually excited about is, just like Fallout 4 is now allowing consoles to do mods, the Skyrim remaster is going to let the consoles use mods and change their gameplay a little bit, so it's no longer exclusive to just PC players. That's probably my one pet peeve with consoles, is that you don't have, the console commands, you don't have the ability to go into the mods and just change the game for yourself. For people that have already beaten the game and just want to goof off, the PC, you've always been able to, open up that console command, put a couple, cheat codes in, essentially, and, just fuck with the world, and when you're done, just don't save and quit. Consoles, since, Game Shark and Action Replay have kind of faded out of existence, you can't really do that on consoles anymore. And seeing this happening with Skyrim and Fallout, I feel like it's finally, not leveling the playing field for consoles. I know PC will always have that one up for those that enjoy it. Graphics can and will always be better. The people that play first-person shooters are usually a lot better on PC. I understand that. It's just not everyone's cup of tea, and hopefully closing that gap a little bit and making it more competitive for us console players, I think that will be a great thing, and this is a great first step to it. Other things I saw from E3 that I thought were actually kind of interesting. I saw the trailer to God of War 4, with Kratos sporting that, huge ass beard, um, teaching his son how to, how to hunt and fight these demons. I don't know how I feel about him taking on the Norse mythology. I've always been more partial to Norse mythology over, the Greek and Roman mythologies where, oh yeah, you're killing off the Greek gods. I really don't care too much. But the idea of me having to kill Odin or Loki, not too keen on that. I feel I feel like I'm betraying something for doing that. And probably the whole Marvel, you know, universe might have something to do with that because they're more prevalent in modern times because everyone knows who they are. If the God of War kind of takes on the end of times with Ragnarok, I think that would actually be kind of cool. But Kratos isn't going to be, allow other gods to live. He's just not that type of person. So I feel like end game it might be a mixture of, hey, I'm going to kill off one or all of the Norse gods because they did something to piss me off, and either he's going to take on, the end with Ragnarok, or he's going to be the cause of it. Maybe he's the reason it happens. Either way, it might be cool to delve into that, whether it's in this game or if they're setting up for another trilogy, end result for that. It doesn't really matter either way, as long as it goes through that mythology completely and makes it to, the end times. I think it would make up for having to fight, the Norse gods, and feeling like I hate myself. One of the other games, I didn't see anything on it from E3, probably because it's coming out later this year anyway. They don't really need to do more about it. I've been a huge Final Fantasy fan for years. First one I played was actually one of the Game Boy ones. Final Fantasy Legends, I think 3. But the first console one I ever played was 8. So, and since then, I think that came out in 98, 99. I've been a fan of the series since then. 13, I feel 13 was a real low for the series, and I'm hoping from the trailers, and I played the demo that came with Type 0, I'm hoping this stays on that track and kind of shoots the Final Fantasy series back up a notch or two. Because if it keeps going on this little downward spiral that, started kind of with 12, hit rock bottom to me in 13, it's going to become I feel like it's going to become like a running joke, kind of like with the Call of Duty games, at least in my opinion, where it just becomes the same boring, hashed out crap, but instead of every year, like Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed, it'll just be, oh, we got boring crap every 5 years. I'm hoping it doesn't go to that, and I'm hoping this game will actually boost it back up. I know a lot of fans no Final Fantasy game will ever live up to, the PlayStation 1 era games, 7, 8, 9. I know a lot of people consider them the best ones. And then some people that, can love 10. It's since then these games just, I don't think anyone's going to think they've live up to that hype. And, just here's hoping it does. I have my misgivings of it. I'm trying not to get my hopes up too high, but you never know. One of the last games I want to talk about that I saw was actually Dead Rising 4. I know this is one of the Xbox exclusives, and this is one of the reasons I wish I had an Xbox One. I mean, the last Xbox I got the 360, but it kind of just went on the back burner for me. And I played Dead Rising 1 and 2. I never got around to playing number 3, but I'm great for love a good zombie killing game. I mean, Dead Island was great for a while. But it lacked that same fun or charm that the Dead Rising games have. I'm hoping that I'll have an Xbox One by the time by the time this game comes out. You know, Dead Rising and God of War, so I can play these. If not, I'm just going to have to steal Sean or Wes's Xbox for a while and play on theirs, and then just never give it back. They'll never know that I didn't plan on giving it back. It'll be our secret. That's really all I have. I'm sorry for the short episode. If it feels a little rushed, I apologize for that too. I wanted to get something out to you guys, but with our hectic schedules, like I said, it's a little hard for us to get everyone together to record all at once. And the times that all of us are together, we usually have the intent to record, but it gets either too loud, roughhousey, or people get a little too drunk, and it kind of like ruins the whole opportunity to record. I promise you we're going to try to do a little bit better on this. We're going to try to get these recordings out on a more constant or consistent schedule. But thank you for listening. I want to hear from you guys on our page. You know, let me know what you think about some of the games I talked about that are coming out. Any games that I missed that you think I should have talked about, I can try to bring it up with the next video or next podcast and get everyone else's opinion on it. And on that, I will see you guys next time. Good night.